So let's just start having the feet and then going to lay down into your back. We're just going to review neutral spine, tuck, and arch. And then do a little bit of hip sways, some release for the hips, and then move on into some of the traditional classical Pilates. So you can roll back. And having your arms lengthened at your side. As you lay on your mat, you want to feel that the pelvis is level. You can do that a couple different ways. So you'll feel here as you're laying down, the base of the back of your skull is resting onto the mat. The neck is lifted in a little arch here. The rib cage is heavy. And picture the plates of your shoulder blades dropping and sinking a little deeper into the mat and the ribs falling after it. If your chest is tight, you may notice that your chin is higher than your forehead. And if that's the case, you want to elevate your head just a little bit. You can use a folded towel, maybe your scarf from your winter accessories, or even just fold the mat to lift the back of the skull up a little higher so your forehead and your chin are level. And now from here, you can feel the waist splits up off the mat. And when you get to the pelvic girdle, take your hands, wrap the thumb behind the curve of the pelvic bone, the hip bone here, and the fingers near the front. And we're just going to notice that when you're laying flat and your pelvis is in a neutral position, the bony structure forms like a tabletop here, regardless of the curves of your belly and your glutes. So at this point, if you take your thumbs to the hip bone crest, like the little bony points that stick out right here, and then your index and middle finger to the pubic bones, the round line here, those bones should be in the same plane when we're in a neutral spot. If you go ahead and pull your waist down, you can feel the fingertips get higher, the thumb is lower, and your waist has flattened. You're in now a tilt of the pelvis that we call a tuck in Pilates. And then just go back so that the pelvis is level again with the pubic bone and the ASIS, the hip bone crest, aligned the same level. So the waist then floats off. So do that again. So just let's exhale and pull the waist down. You get a little bit of tip of the pelvic girdle around the leg bones, the femurs. And then release back down. So sort of just rocking the pelvis. Some of you may have done this in physical therapy. Some of you may have done it in Pilates. But we're just noticing like where you change the natural position of your spinal curves to flatten the waist, and then the tail has to rise, or to lower the tail down, feel that arch in your waist. Now we can also rock in the other direction by curling the tail down, and now the pubic bones would be lower than the hip bone crest, and the arch of the waist has increased. And exhale, go back to your neutral position where you feel the sacrum, the tailbone heavy. And rock again, so we're going to inhale into that extension. When you do that, the chest will lift a little bit and the ribs swing open. And then as you exhale, the ribs knit together. You're back to that neutral pelvis where the hip bone crest and the pubic bones are level. So in Pilates, sometimes we go from a pelvic tuck, where the tail is curled up and the waist is flat, through neutral to an arch, where the tail is heavy and the arch of the back increases. But a lot of the times we're trying to hold that neutral spine against the movement of different parts of your body, like for example, in a knee fold. So let's try that here. So we'll just start, take your hands again, like across the front of the pelvic girdle. And then can you keep that level as you pull your right knee up in the air? And also as you lower the foot down. If you do that slowly, you're going to feel that work in the abdominals, holding the pelvis level, and alternate the legs. So the left leg comes up on the inhale and it lowers on the exhale. So our goal here in order to strengthen the core is to keep the pelvic bones and actually all the curves of the spine the same when we're pulling the knee up and lowering it down with control. So inhale now, we're alternating the legs, and left knee's coming up. We'll exhale for a little extra support. The abdominal wall gets together and the leg lowers. And just one more here. Inhale to pull the knee up and exhale to lower down. And now left knee rises and sink it to the floor. Now we also look at the position of the pelvic girdle when we're doing knee sways from side to side. And there's two different ways we think about this exercise, right? So if you take your arms out to the side in a T, palms to the ceiling, back of the hands to the floor, and you just have your legs parallel, maybe feet and knees 4 inches apart, go ahead and let your knees fall to the right, and you can feel that as the knees go over, the pelvis tips. So your left hip bone comes up as the right knee and the left knee fall down towards to the right. You've got a rotation through your spine, and then you exhale and you pick up the knees to rock back to that neutral spine. Now we go to the other side. It feels good in your body too if you turn the head away from the knees. So the knees go to the left, the right hip comes up and across your midline, and you're looking to the right. Exhale and unwind it. Come back so that you're balanced on your sacrum. Pelvis is neutral again. And we're letting the knees float over to the right with left. Just enjoy that stretch. The stretch maybe goes all the way up towards the armpit. And exhale, come back to center. The nose and the knees point to the ceiling. And one more time here, the knees glide to the left. The movement of your legs tips the pelvis to one side, so the right hip is up. You can look out over your right fingertips. And exhale, come back to center. So that gives you a nice like massage into the low back and a little bit of work on rotation in your spine. Another way to think about doing this exercise is to take your hands to the hips again and see how far you can take your knees over to the right without tipping the left hip up. So now you're going to feel the work in your core trying to stabilize the pelvis on the ground against the movement and weight of your legs. Exhale, pull back to center. And now let your knees go over to your left. If you think about the right hip sinking into the ground, you might go a little bit further, a little bit more abdominal work on the right side of your body, trying to keep the pelvis stable, back where it started, and exhale back to center. So we can again take the knees to the right, but get heavier in the left side, so the left glute is sinking into the ground, being pulled down by magnets to the first floor of the matchbox. And exhale, come back to center. And again, knees going over to the left. Almost rotate, counter-rotate the pelvis. So you're heavy on the right side. And you'll feel that work in the obliques and your abdominals now. Exhale, come back to center. So you felt like you could use the same exercise in two different ways to be aware of what's going on in the middle line of your body. Now from here, we could also take the knees over by picking up the left hip bone and rotating the waist to let the knees fall to the right. And then we're going to pick up the right hip bone from those oblique abdominals we just talked about, pulling the right hip up and across your midline so that the knees are being moved by the center of the body instead of the center of the body being moved by your knees, which we did originally. And here we go again. Pull the left hip up, roll across your low back, keep lifting that left hip bone crest across to the other side, and the knees fall to the right. And then pull the hip bone up and bring it across the body to the left. So why are we doing this, right? We want to know that how you think about moving your body really creates different sensations and different work in the body, right? So the first option will be just let the knees flop to one side and the waist moved as a reaction to that. With a little freer, you're working further from center, distally away from your core. And then when we changed it and rolled the hip bone up to move the legs, we're working more from our center. It's not necessarily that one's better than the other, they just create a different experience and working differently in the middle of your body and at the edges. So enough of that, but that's one of like the foundational thoughts that we have when moving in Pilates is working from the center of the body or choosing not to. It's not just random movement, moving from everywhere, which is another choice. But now as we do a knee fold, we're going to keep that pelvis level and think about heaviness in the hips as you pull the right knee up. And then exhale, lower it down. And as you go slowly, you feel the increased load into the abdominal wall. Inhale, the left knee lifts. And exhale, lower slowly. Just feel the weight of your leg. Each leg, 1/6 of your body weight, right? So that's pretty substantial. The work is happening through your deep hip flexor, but the abdominals work to keep the pelvis level. That's why you feel the work in your abs. You don't really notice the hip flexor here. So left knee comes up, exhale, lower. And now let's slide your left leg forward. Just going to do some stretches to open up the hips. So pull the right knee into your chest. Pull the leg in as close as you can. If your knee is tricky, you would hold on to the back of your thigh and let the knee joint be a little more open. Otherwise, pull it in tight to your body. And then stretch out to the center of the left foot down the mat. Release that right knee up and away. And with your right hand on the knee, we're going to draw a circle of the leg on the hip socket, holding the whole torso steady and quiet. So again, so you're getting a little bit of core work to hold the pelvis level and still as you rotate the leg on the hip. And then we'll reverse the circles. It's really cold out there. We need to start moving our bodies to warm up and loosen the joints. And now we'll pull that right knee in and pull the right knee up to the right armpit. Feel extra weight in the left hip bone. If you need to, you can take your left hand on the hip bone crest to press it down. And you'll find that should increase the stretch that you're getting in the upper inner thigh. Now we'll pull the leg across the body and the knee points up towards the left shoulder. Try to reach down through the right glute as if the sits bone was stretching across the room from you. A decrease here at the hip, so it doesn't go very far when you keep the hip down, but you'll feel that stretch in the lateral thigh and the glute. Now switch hands again, right hand to the right knee, and bring that knee out and lower it down so that the angle between the torso and the leg is 90 degrees. You can rest the edge of the foot on the ground if you want, or not. And you have an option. We're still pulling the left hip down so that you're flat across the top of the pelvis. You're not tipped or tilted off the mat. And try to have a gentle press with your hand, not to the knee, but above it on the thigh bone to open up that right hip socket. Now we'll go ahead and use your right hand to help lift the knee up so the leg is pointed to the ceiling. Now bring your left hand to the right knee. Cross the leg over and let the knee glide you up and over in a rotation through your spine. Extend your right arm out perpendicular to your torso and look out of the hand. We'll keep the right shoulder down as you press the knee down towards the ground and try to lengthen the leg while keeping the shoulder blade grounded. Get that big stretch here across your chest on the right side and into the low back. Unwind the body, so you can think of pulling the right hip down. Use the muscles at the back of your body to roll across, get the right glute to the ground, and we'll pull that right knee in once more. Pull it in tight, plug it in, and then release the right leg forward, stretch out, shake out both legs, and you should feel a big difference in the openness of that right hip. And the leg has dropped, the hip has dropped on that right side, even your back has dropped towards the ground. Feel it? So by releasing the tension in the hip, you release a lot of tension in the right side of your body. So here we go now with the left. It gets its turn. So first tug it in, reach out through the sits bone, pull in with the leg towards the chest wall. And again, remember, if it's too much pressure on the knee joint, hold underneath the knee onto the hamstring, onto the back of the thigh. And then we can release the knee forward and up, left hand on the knee, right hand on the right hip bone. Keep the pelvis level as you do small circles with the knee in the air. So you're rotating the femur head, the thigh bone head on the socket. Nice and slow and smooth. See if you can notice that where the leg is changes how much work you feel in the right abs. And then we'll reverse the circles here. Nice and slow and smooth. We're doing this. This is going to be a fluid inside the joint. It's becoming less like little grains of sand and more like oil. That's a good thing. That's what prevents you from having arthritis. It's one of the things that will help for sure. And now let's pull the knee into your chest again. Reach out long again through the sits bone. And now we'll open the knee out to the left, left to the left. Either the foot up in the air or you can rest the edge of your foot on the mat. Rotate your torso a bit so the right hip is still grounded. You haven't tipped the pelvis, it's still parallel to the floor, both hip bones point up to the sky. And then you can open that leg, a little bit of weight with your hand on the inner thigh will help open up that joint. One side might feel tighter than the other. And remember, if you pull the hip bone away from the leg, you're also going to get a stretch in the upper inner thigh here. Let's go ahead. You can use your hand to the back of the leg to help pick it up, because once the muscle relaxes, it's not that anxious to work again. Imagine, right? We just had a vacation, we can relate. So now we take the right hand to the left knee, extend the left arm perpendicular to your body, and pull the knee across the body. Let the hip lift passively here, following the movement of the knee. Again, one of the choices we were talking about earlier, while the left shoulder blade is heavy, the arm stretches long, reach out through all the fingertips and feel that stretch across your shoulder into the chest wall, into your pelvis. And then if you go ahead, exhale, roll back, bring your left hip down to bring the knee up to the ceiling. And now pull that knee in one more time. Embrace it in. The right leg stretches further away from you, reach out to the sole of the foot. And then let's release the left leg down, switch it out. Shake out the leg. And then notice how you've already released tension in your hips, and maybe you feel like a little flatter to the ground for your whole body. Perfect. So from here, let's pull your right knee into your chest, hold up to the back of the thigh. Pull the left knee in next, and then lift that foot up to the ceiling, elbows wide and forward. We're going to lift the head off the mat, look down your nose, and push the legs forward to roll up to sitting, coming up using your core and staying balanced right to left. Beautifully done. Good. All right. Feel better already? A little bit of hip release. Does wonders for us. So now we're going to just review doing your roll back. So start with your knees bent, heels grounded, which shows be a little bit up, probably at least slightly in front of the midline of your back. And we can begin here by looking down at your end, curl the tail up. So we do that pelvic tuck, the sits bones in the tail move forward and up the wall to get a rounded low back. Your belly sinks back like it's in a hammock. And then with your hands reaching forward, they can be along the floor, they can be on your legs, you can even hold the back of your thighs. We roll down one vertebra at a time, going down just at the base of the rib cage, and now we're coming up. So dig the heels in, maybe bend the elbows, pull yourself up, become upright. If this is a challenge for your body right now, we can always do this with a band by taking the band across the ball of the foot, the arch, and having some tension here. Wrapping those around. And then from here, we're going down again. So elbows wide and forward. We do that to pull the shoulder blades broad, and that way when you curl the tail up, the ribs sink back. And the blades and the shoulders move forward relatively. We're going to roll back. It's a little more space. So let's curl the tail up. So you rotate the pelvis in the pelvic tuck. We come down one vertebra after the next, go down to the base of the rib cage, go down to the shoulder blades, lay the shoulders and the head down, and see if you can feel like you're again in that neutral pelvis. And now we're lifting to come up. So lift your head, neck, and shoulders, roll the shoulders forward, then the elbows wide, push it into your leg, and we come up in a rounded curve, come upright to sit on your sits bones. And now take a little dive forward to stretch out that lower back and hang your head down, ears between your knees. Zip your back up the wall from the bottom to the top. We'll lift it to come up. You can also do this with the leg extended forward. A little bit easier to think about rotating the pelvis when the knees are bent. This also works. You guys have all been here before, at least the ones here in my class, right? So curl the tail up, start to roll back. Reach out by your feet. Delay descending. We're taking one vertebra, then the next, inch by inch by inch down onto the mat. Lay the head back, and then we flip the head up, pull the heads back, push the feet forward, come up, Now, this can be hard for people depending on their body proportions, depending if they've done it before. If you're having trouble, anyone watching the video can also add like ankle weights or like by holding weights in the hands, that would give them a little easier time with this. Dive over, stretch out the back of your body and the back of your legs. Knees bend if your hamstrings are really tight, but just be sure you feel the stretch in the hamstrings at the back of your upper thighs. And then we can stack the spine come up again. This exercise is called roll down. When the knees are bent and you're going back. We also call it roll up when the legs are straight. Yeah. So curve your way back here. Push the legs forward. Let the abdominal wall work inch after inch after inch. Push your body, shoulders down. And then we lift to come up. Pull the exhale. Take it out through your heels. Feet flex will give you more stretch in the back line of your body. You pull the waist up into the curve of your spine, the hip is low. And let's stack the spine up. If you want to try it out the fair bend, a little more weight, a little more difficult, we can bring the arms forward to begin. The arms lower is easier, the arms higher, more difficult. And you can change the position of your arms as you need to, right? So you press out through the legs, we curl the tail up, rotating the pelvis around the back of the femurs. Your arms probably lower as you go down to maintain control. Be sure you go down right and left side equally. The shoulder blades touch simultaneously. You reach the arms back and stretch your body out. And then lift the arms, weight in the shoulder blades, start to pull the head up. Big exhale to lift the ribs. Up, 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 up with the head. As if you're a wave coming out of the ocean and you dive forward. Pulling the weight back, then you get a beautiful C shape here. Your horseshoe resting on its side. And then let's stack the spine coming up. And as you lift your gaze up the wall in front of you, down the blades move and slide on your ribcage behind you. So we're going back again. So feel the difference here, what's going on your back. You're not used to thinking about that. We're thinking about the front of the body all the time. So as you curve your spine, the blades widen. And they move forward. And then as you go back down, the blades settle into the ground, the chest onto them. When you lower the arms, the chest broadens and the back narrows. Now lift the arms up and back by your ears. Feel that stretch in the armpits, in the waist. Lift the arms, weight in the shoulder blades, come up with the head. Lift, big exhale, pull yourself up. For ankle weights would be helpful, even feet against the wall is helpful to close the chain as you're working here. You're finding it difficult initially, which like everyone does. Typically, we don't expect people to be able to do this until they're at an intermediate level, come all the way up. And we'll roll it back one more time, and then grab the TheraBand for some single circles. And we'll releasing the hips. Go down in super slow motion. Try to hit every single inch of your back into the mat. The arm position allows you to maintain control while challenging your core and your ability to come down easily. All right, so we're going to pull the right knee again. Plug it in with both arms, and then we're taking a TheraBand and placing the wide part of the band around the ball of the right foot. The tarsals, the toes are over 3, and then we'll lift the foot up to the ceiling, wrap your hands around the band, and slide your elbows down towards your waist. Now, the leg should be up as high as you can do it. Like if you have your leg straight, your leg is out down here, means that the back line of your leg is tight. So in that case, you'll bend the knee a little bit and lift the leg more vertically, because having the leg too low would put too much pressure into the low back. So wherever you are, whether you have a bent knee or a straight leg, you want to lift the leg so the weight of the leg is directly into the socket and the leg is vertical as much as you can make it. Now from here, we can do a point flex. So lift the heels up, pull the toes back towards your shins, then reach to the ball of the foot and then the toes, curl the toes back, then we'll lift the heel to get the calf stretch, and we'll roll through the foot. So we're really articulating the foot from one end to the other, feel the heel and back again. Take a moment to feel how luxurious that is for the foot to move that way. We're not treating it like a block of wood. We're making it mobile and happy at the same time. Now we go up into that ball of the foot. It's sort of like a Barbie doll foot or like a woman's foot in a high heeled shoe. And lower the leg slightly forward. And now we start to circle the leg. The goal here is to stretch the leg and draw a beautiful circle in the air without destabilizing the hip. So as you bring the right leg across the left, the right hip is heavy. As the leg rotates out and around to the right, the left hip stays grounded. So we do that again. So the leg stretches and you circle it low. Take it all the way out and around and bring it up high. So with that internal rotation, it crosses over, it goes neutral at the bottom, toes up, externally rotate the knee and the toes point out, and then you bring it back to center, vertical with the toes pointing over your shoulder. So we're getting the leg to draw a circle in the air, but we're also rotating the femur on the hip joint, called circumduction, and helps loosen up your hips more. Feel how the weight of the leg makes you work different sides of the body in order to keep the pelvis grounded and heavy and level on your mat. Let's do one more. Just stretch the foot into the band. It gives you support, but it also gives you something to push into to create a little space in the joints in your leg. Now at the top, we're reversing. So externally rotate and bring the leg out to the side. Push down low, across the body, internally rotate, and then neutral at the top, and reach again. It's one breath per circle. So we start with a short, deep inhale for maybe a quarter of the circle, and then a slow, long exhale. So let the airflow out of your mouth very slowly so that you end the exhale at the top of the movement. Let's do two more. Short inhale, long exhale. Reach out, stretch the legs, stretch the strap. Keep the arms steady and the pelvis steady on the floor against this movement of your leg. You'll feel that you're using different core muscles to support you with every position. Now, the legs up at the top, we're going to take both ends of the band in the right hand and then anchor the right elbow at your side. Left hand to left hip bone, rotate the leg externally and then lower the leg without tipping the pelvis. So really actively try to push down with your left side, the left side of the skull, the left shoulder blade, the left hip bone, the left thigh, the left heel, everything. And the hand is on the left hip bone pressed. Rock the leg a little bit towards your shoulder. This series, this exercise, is sort of the best ones for taking tension out of our hips, which we acquire from like emotional tension and stress, but also from sitting too many hours every day. And then we lift the leg up, pull from the upper inner thigh, lift the leg here to the top, we switch hands. So the left hand holds the strap on the right foot. You'll extend the right arm out and look at that hand. Take the leg across the body and let the weight of the leg pull the hip up and spiral your spine. With the head turned, your neck, your cervical spine is going in the opposite direction. Try to let that right shoulder be heavy. And feel that diagonal stretch with your back and in your abs. If you rotate the leg internally, turning the knee and the toes towards the floor, you'll get more of a stretch into the glute. And now we unwind the body. So think of pulling down with the left shoulder blade, the waist, the right hip bone, the right glute to lift the leg up to the sky. And then let's pull the leg in over your chest, come up to an upper crawl where you're bending at the tip of the blades. The thoracic spine is lifted off the ground. You're pulling the leg towards your face and you're pulling your head up towards the inside of the foot. Go ahead and release the body down and hold it into your chest. Okay, off. Plug the knee into your body once more. And then we'll release that leg forward, shake it out. And again, amazing, right? You feel that difference between the right and left side, where the right side has fallen into the ground, it's closer, more of your body is connected to the mat. And the leg also is more relaxed. It wants to rotate externally. It sort of flops out when you're pointing outward and so are the toes, comparatively to the other side, right? So here we go. We're doing the other side. So pull that leg in, embrace it in. Give a little hug, a little tug, and then we'll reach for the band again. and place the band around the ball of the foot. Okay, and then we'll lift that foot up to the ceiling. Bend the knee if your hamstrings are tight to get that leg more vertical. Straighten it where you can, when you can, without overstretching the back of the knee. And here we're going to do a soft point and then a flex at the ankle, but we're also working through the ball of the foot and then the toes extend up. Curl the toes back and then lift the heel up. So we give out the front of the foot, the middle of the foot, and the heel. Here too, with the foot above the hip, just picture the weight of the leg dropping deep into the hip socket. And one more to end with a soft point. So that's that high heel shoe position with the ball of the foot forward and the toes pull back slightly. Slide your elbows down to move your shoulders away from your ears. And we begin to circle across, left leg moves right, left hip is heavy. Take the leg low, circle out around and up to the ceiling. Hopefully getting some stretches in the muscles in your leg and around the joint. One full breath per circle. At the top, we begin with a deep inhale, and then it's a long, slow exhale out to really parse the air out a little bit at a time, out from your lips, out into the air above you, and reach again. The elbows are grounded to help hold the shoulder girdle steady, and that helps your torso remain quiet while you're moving the weight of your leg. Picture yourself moving through water here. You push the water aside, just like we push the air aside and then move through the space. You also get some support from the air in your mind, just like you would get support from salt water. All the way up. And one more in this direction. Reach a little longer with every single circle, as if you're spiraling the leg further and further from your head. Now here we pause, reverse, so rotate externally and let the leg open. The right hip is rounded, heavy, sinking into the floor, and the left hip goes down before the leg goes right. So you're aware of a weight transfer to hold the pelvis level before the leg moves, causing you to shift the weight in your hips. So it should look, well, it should look like it's effortless, but you feel that work. This looks great. Really focusing on keeping that pelvis grounded on the right and the leg moves left, and then grounded on the left when the leg moves and stretches to the right. Let's go for one more circle here. Reach out further, toes soft, let your air flowing between the toes. And then we'll come here to the top and with the ends of the band now. In your left hand, left elbow low by your waist, right hand on the right hip, and take the left leg out to the side. And we'll rock it a little bit towards your shoulder and away. The hip is heavy here. Try to maintain that neutral pelvis, the slight lift in the waist. And then on the exhale, pull from the upper inner thigh, lift the left foot to the ceiling. And we'll switch hands on the band. Cross the leg over. Stretch it for the far wall. You can gradually feel the hip, the waist, the bottom of the rib cage off the ground, and keep the left shoulder blade firmly pressing into your mat. You'll pull that left foot towards your right shoulder, and then rotate the leg internally. Get a little bit more stretch in the low back and in the lateral hip. And breathe nice and slow, nice and deep. Your right arm's going to help support the weight of the leg. And now unwind it, pull down from your right rib cage to your waist, diagonally down to the glute. And then we'll pull the leg up, bring your hands up high. You can lift your head, look down your nose, pull the elbows wide, pull your chest up. It's what we call an upright curl in Pilates, where you round at the back and lift at the head. Ideally, the head and neck should be sort of vertical. And you're looking down your nose into the abdominal wall to keep the bend through the chest wall. And to feel like you're working the upper abs. And then release back down. And we can fold the knee into your chest and place the hands inside. Hug that left knee into your body, close it in. And then release it forward, shake out both legs. Even though we had a nice release just during the initial bent leg stirs and movements, now you should feel a lot more release in those hips. I know, like the feet want to just wiggle. Perfect. So now let's pull your left knee into your chest, hold the back of the thigh or the shin, and then pick up the right leg, lift it towards the ceiling, elbows wide, lift the head, lift the neck, lift the shoulders, rock forward to come up to sitting. Great. Feels good to get back into it, right? So we're going to roll back into hundreds now. So we're doing the roll down into what we call the upright curl, which you were just in. So that is sort of right at the brow lines where you stop. And then the chest is still going to be pushed forward in that rounded upper back position. Then we'll pump the arms and do different leg positions to challenge and strengthen our center. All right, so we can start sitting up right here on the sits bones and extend the arms forward. Look down at your abs. Curve the tail up and start to roll back. We can go back slowly over the sacrum, down to the hips, to the waist, to the base of the ribs, to the brow line, and feel like widen your collarbones a little, feel the shoulder blade tips comes back. The arms are going to go into parallel to the ground, palms down, and put one knee in, exhale the other, and squeeze the legs together. From this position, still look down your nose at your navel and pump the arms up and down. Inhale for 5 beats. Exhale for 5 more. That makes 10, so 10 breaths makes 100, hence the name. But like, I don't count, we're just going to go until we need to rest. So full breath in, full breath out. Now, if you really need help with your neck, it can be tight and tense, you can take one hand and support the skull and keep pulling the elbow forward and down as you breathe and pump the other arm. And then you can switch. Or you stay up. And really let your shoulders roll in slightly. Reach out through your thumb and your index finger. Slight rotation, internally rotating the inside of the arm down. So you're sliding the arms up and down, kind of gathering in the side of your ribs. If you want a little bit more work through the low abdominals, you can straighten the legs or even lower them slightly forward and out. Just try to prevent yourself from flattening your upper back into the ground and arching your waist. So we keep pulling the waist down, we keep breathing here. Inhale for those 5 beats, exhale for 5 more, just one more breath. You can always rest your head down, but then you need to pull the knees in closer to your chest. And finally, pull the knees in, lay your head down, and turn it from side to side. Typically, the exercise starts the classical routine. Usually at the beginning of the semester, I want to pull it in a little later so your body has a chance to warm up and your spine also has a little more chance to get flexible. So good. I'm pretty sure everyone felt that in your abs and it helped your breathing. So now let's roll forward and up or rolling up the ball. So we'll take the hands to the back of your thighs. Look up, pick up your head, neck, shoulders, exhale, hit the legs forward, roll up into sitting. And here we're going to sit near the front third of your mat. The first times you do this, your hands are behind your thighs. Later, your hands go to your shins. You can choose what you want. And let's have the knees apart, sort of the width of your shoulders. Heels together, toes apart. And you curl the tail up to round the back and pick up your elbows wide forward as you keep your gaze fixed on your navel. Here, the head stays off the mat by keeping the chin tucked in towards your chest, towards your throat. Inhale, we lift the tail and just the shoulder blade, foot in the air. Exhale, come forward and balance. Good. This is not for people with osteoporosis or anyone who's pregnant. Other than that, you're free to play. So, and if you are in either of those categories, we do a slight rock back and a slight rock forward, holding the angle the same. And even if you try that, you're going to feel a lot of work in the super low abs, right? 5, And if you're not in those categories, you roll and massage out the spine. And calm back up. Now it's important that you keep your gaze down because as soon as you pick up your gaze, like lifting your chin, what would happen would be you would flatten your back and then you land hard and you're no longer a ball, you're a plank, so then you're not coming up. So keep that curve of your spine. And this exercise was designed to help us work the right and left side equally. So that if you're rolling right down the midline of your mat, and you can come up on the same line, it's like you're steering the sled down a direct path, and you're not veering off to the right or the left. If you find that you're always like coming back on one side, you've got to use the side that you're leaning toward, push it into the other side to steer yourself straight. But even just like pressing the edges of your legs into each other, it helps you engage both the right and left side of your body. Let's do a couple more. You roll back on the inhale, you come up on the exhale. And it's best to change the breath right when the tip of your blades touch. So that you're not rolling all the way back on the inhale when your breath's in the inhale. You're starting to exhale before you change direction to come up. And that really makes a difference as far as having the energy to shift and come all the way up. And by the way, if you have trouble coming up, kick your legs out up in the air and that will bring you up, which is why this is easier than doing this. So good. So here we're going to work into some of the ab series. So even though we've used the abs all along, this is really focused on the abdominal wall. So we're going to begin with the right hand on the right ankle. It's on the shin right above it. The left hand below the knee on the right shin. And then you pick up the knee. You start to curl the tail up. You push up with your hands into the leg as you roll back, and you can pick up the left leg off the ground. Elbows go wide as you look down your midline. And we're going to press this leg up into the hands and vice versa. Now inhale, switch the leg. The right leg is forward, the left one pulls in. Feel that connection hand to shin to hand, and switch. So it's an inhale for one leg movement, the exhale for the next. The legs go straight out of the socket, so they each have their own runway. They each have their own path. Don't let the legs drift sideways or medial, right? There's a little bit like pistons. They just work automatically straight forward, straight back. And again, if this is too much pressure on the knee, you just pull into the thigh if you're not putting pressure onto the joint. We always have a go around, always ask me if you need a modification, if something doesn't feel right, to stop and try something different. Then we can pull both these into your chest and lay it down. Turn your head, easy from side to side. Now here, let's rock forward again. This makes it easier on the neck. And you do have an option. Could you actually roll me the ball? I just want to show. The gentleman ball. So the balls I have here are probably like 20 years old. And so they really are, they're very squishy, which is nice for some things, but they're not very good at rolling, sorry. So an option here to do an upper ab curl if you need more support is to actually come down and roll back onto it and take it maybe at the brow line, maybe a little lower. So that can support you. You can try, I'll give you this one back. But this gives you a nice lift and an upper ab curl. You can still put the waist down and start to get the work here into the upper abdominals to do all of like the ab series exercises or even like the hundreds here without feeling so much tension in the neck. Because we want to be sure that when you're into this upper ab curl position, thank you. Almost. Sorry, it is an exercise class, so it's okay if you have to move to catch the ball. We want to be sure that you're getting the work into the abs here and not going into your upper ab curl and doing something with this, because this is all in your throat and it feels horrific and you really are not helping your abdominal wall at all. So it's important that we're at the place where you can really feel that curve, which means that the spine has to be flexible. And here's the thing, so many people have been told to always like lift their heart, pull their shoulders down their back and present like with this nice wide front here, even if they're normally like this all day long, right? As soon as you do that, right, you can't really bend. So try it. So go really wide, pull your shoulders down your back, squeeze the tip of the blades together behind you and try to bend your spine in flexion. So you're gonna start, you get a lot of movement in the head and the neck, and you're gonna be moving like more from the waist and the hips. Whereas if you go into flexion with that upper curl and allow your shoulders to go forward and the ribs to go back, then you're in like more work in the upper abdominals. And that's what we're looking for in the ab series. So when you go back, sometimes people will just automatically pull their shoulders down and then their head falls back like this. And now they're in their throat and they hate the exercise and they're not really working their abs. So we want to think about going back in that C curve and feel the blades widen as you go down. And let's do that from the top. And we're going into the second of the ab series, which is an arm and leg stretch in opposite directions, and then embrace to pull in. So arms can go forward, curl the tail up, and start to roll back. Feel as you go back, see how the shoulders want to move forward. We're going to keep that sensation, pull the legs in, and now take one hand to each shin, elbows wide, and pull yourself up, looking down your nose at your abs. From here, inhale, arms and legs lift to the sky, fingers reach and toes reach, circle the arms wide around and embrace the knees into your chest. Those like snow angels almost. So you stretch for the ceiling, you circle around and up. Now, as you advance, the arms and legs move further away, but not at the expense of your upper abdomen. Reach. Sometimes the rollers, take a dive when we do this. So you maintain that work in your upper abdominals. You keep looking down your abs towards your center. And one more. And pull it in. And then it lets you rest down. Lower your feet. And take your feet the width with bent knees, the width of your mat. Open the arms wide and let your knees fall to one side. Look away. So this is lovely for the hips because you're doing one external rotation, one internal rotation. So great to have you back. Thanks for coming to class. Come tomorrow if you can. All right, and then to the other side, look away. And here again, you can make the choice. Are you going to move from your knees or are you going to move from the hip bones, from the pelvic bones, from your abdominals? Movement is really powerful if you're aware of your body and you have a dialogue with it so that you're determining where the work is happening and it's not sort of passively happening accidentally. Movement in itself is great. If you add the image and the mental focus, you get even more results than ways you might even expect. That's been my training, that's been my experience, and hopefully it'll be yours too as you go through the classes. So, all right, beautiful. We're going to roll up again. So you can come up with one leg or both legs pulled in. Come up and now take the legs apart for spine stretch. We'll sit elevated here on your sits bones. If your hamstrings are tight, you may want to bend the knees or elevate your hips up to straighten the knees. So by sitting on like a yoga block or a bunch of bunks, even the roller, you would be able to do that. But we want to be vertical here, sitting up on the sits bone. If you take your hands behind you, you'll feel an inverse curve in your knee, and then you know you're in the right vertical position with that S-curve spine on the start. Now the arms move forward, and we're going to look down first, and then move the head forward to move the neck, then the upper back, the mid back, the low back. You pull the waist back. As you dive over and down, bring your hands down towards the mat. You can bend the knees as you go over if your hamstrings are tighter. Just be sure you still feel the stretch at the back of your thighs. And then sink the tail down, come upright, so you float yourself up as if you're stacking your spine, rolling up a wall. And let the head float up, like up through your halo to lengthen the neck and lengthen the rest of your spine. We go over again. So inhale, look down. Move the head to move the neck first, and then you move the upper back, the mid back, the low back. Pilates believed, and I do too, from my work with this and other teachers, that you can be as strong and healthy as your spine is strong and flexible. And then people have that mobility here in their spine, they increase the work in their core, And they also increase general flexibility to the body. Not the only way to get those, but it's certainly a good program. So we got it over and down, then over left. And you will notice if you see someone who is young but moves very stiffly, they present as someone much older than their chronological age. Whereas you can see someone older who moves beautifully, fluidly, with grace and strength, they appear much younger than their chronological age. So we want to do everything we can to stay mobile. So that we can keep engaging with the world and maintain our independence as we age. All right, plus it's more fun, right? So that might be the first thing. Okay, so we've now reviewed some of the foundational work, like the tuck and arch and neutral spine, spinal articulation. We didn't really go much into breathing. We can look at that next time. But we went through the basic 5 exercises. We did the roll up, we did the hundreds, we did the single leg circles and stretches, rolling like a ball and the spine stretch, and then we dropped into the middle of it 2 of the 5 ab series. That's really good for our first day back. Hope everyone had fun and feels great, and I hope to see you all soon.